folks, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ben and I'm a photographer and videographer based in North Wales. I have just received a package, not sponsored, and if this is what I think it is, again, I have to say, this is not a sponsored video. Nobody has paid me to make this video, but I have been sent a product to make a review, this video, free of charge. The manufacturers and retailers have no say in this video and they don't get to see it before you do. And by the way, I will be leaving links in the description for all the stuff that I mention in this video. I think that's everything. Right. Yep, it's what I was expecting. Some people may recognise this very simple packaging, which I appreciate. This is a product from SmallRig. In fact, two products from SmallRig. So this will be two separate videos. I think in this one I'm going to focus on what's in this box, and in a separate video I'm going to concentrate on this box, which I'm quite interested in. So if you follow this channel, you'll probably know by now that I've started shooting on the Sony FX3. We're shooting right now on the Sony A7 III, which, as it happens, is clamped to the table with a super clamp, attached to which is a SmallRig cheese plate and a SmallRig V-mount battery plate and a SmallRig monitor swivel tilt thing and a SmallRig cage around the A7C. Then we've got a SmallRig Nato rail on top of that and a SmallRig handle on top of that. Then we've got a SmallRig Nato rail, a SmallRig swivel swivel arm to house the Atomos Ninja 5. And then the microphone is attached to the rig using a SmallRig hot shoe extension. So if you can't tell already, I am quite a big fan of SmallRig, but I am going to be completely unbiased in this video. I take pride in that on this channel if you're not a returning viewer. If I don't like something, I'm going to tell you, and where possible I'm going to suggest where it could be improved as well. I'm not a negative person. I don't see the point in that. Nobody benefits from it. So, what SmallRig have sent over here is the FX3 Cage Kit. So in here we're not only getting the cage itself, we also get a nice top handle. This one I am already quite a big fan of. I actually have one right here on top of the A7C right now. We'll get to that in a minute. Here is the FX3 cage itself. This is very nice. I really appreciate the nice wooden detail on top of there. The SmallRig logo there, that's actually wood. I am a big fan of any cage which includes a tightening tool to actually attach it to the camera. We've got a HDMI clamp right there that will attach to the side of the cage, which means it's in the perfect position to tighten down on the HDMI cable. In here we have a small Nato rail. In the last few months I have gone nuts for Nato rail. I don't know how I lived without it beforehand, so always good to have. And then we've got a few screws, 3 of them to be precise. 2 of them are just your standard ones for the Nato plate, and 1 of them, I assume, yeah, that'll be for the side mount on the FX3. So let's get it in there. Bare naked camera. I would probably just take a lens off it if you haven't already. That will just sit nicely inside there, and with our handy little tool we'll start screwing in the base screw, but we're not going to do it too tight, and then we'll get the side screw in on the handle side, tighten that one in, and then tighten down on the base one. And then the tool just magnetizes straight back in place. So straight away that feels solid. I mean, properly solid. I've had this camera for nearly a month at this point, and so far I've actually been using a tilter cage. I've actually been using it more often as a half cage. I've been removing the handle portion of it and then just using this L shape basically. It's pretty decent, but I do have some qualms with it. And then I also did pick up on eBay secondhand the SmallRig half cage for the FX3 as well, which has had its uses so far, even though I've still been using the tilter cage. I'll explain why in a future video. So the camera is utterly solid in there, I have to say. Let's just stick the NATO plate on top, I think. Awesome, that's in there. I was about to say, I was quite surprised with this, because so far I've not seen an Allen key anywhere. And for anyone who's ordered a SmallRig product before, you'll know just how many Allen keys you end up racking up with in your tool drawer. But then I remembered, on the NATO handle, we have an Allen key recessed inside the handle. There we go. I must have 20, 30 of these ones. So that just sticks in and then magnetizes in place. So the NATO handle slots onto the NATO plate, which you may have guessed. We just push down on the little buttons, slide it over, and then that means if the handle becomes loose, it's locked in place by those two little brass buttons. That is not going anywhere. But then we'll tighten it down. There we are. Awesome. Solid. So I can talk about this handle pretty well already, as I already own one. This is a really nice handle. I'd say it's probably my favourite handle so far that I've used. The wood underneath means you're not going to be getting too much frostbite in your fingers shooting on a cold day. It's very comfortable, and it is indented as well, which you can just about see there. It's very much shaped for your hands. Index finger in there and the rest there. Very often I'm actually shooting with my index finger in front of the column there, and when I've got a monitor attached on top, this is my favourite way to use it. So this handle you can actually twist around. So just snap it loose with the Allen key to start with, and then you can loosen it a little bit more, and then you can move it to whatever position you want it to be. So when I've got a monitor on the handle, I'm very often shooting this way. So the monitor is mounted towards the front, and I'm holding it more like this, which basically just gives me more room and more room for the monitor as well. So let's get a lens on here. It's a little bit unbalanced right now. So with a lens attached, that is, I'd say, a little more balanced. Very nicely balanced, in fact. So let's check out the HDMI clamp on the side. I'm running the monitor off V-mount right now, so please bear with me. I apologise, you can probably hear the fans off this as well. So what I would do is get another NATO rail up on top, like so. And then, yeah, NATO rail has truly changed my life. Look how quick and easy this is to snap on now. This is again a SmallRig NATO rail tilt swivel head. On like that, slide it on, lock in place. That's it. Now then, HDMI cable. This is a full-size HDMI for the FX3. There is a nice little recess in the clamp for the actual flap of the HDMI port. Plug it in, and then all we need to do is tighten it down. Like so. You can also tighten that a little bit more with a Allen key. It's a slightly smaller size. So this one. Yes. Let's tighten that right down. don't over tighten it with the Allen key, because I reckon there is a chance you could just crack the HDMI cable. But now, in theory, I reckon I could probably pick this up using the HDMI cable. Yeah, that's not just gonna slip out at all easily. Cool, so yeah, this is how I would normally be shooting handheld. Obviously not tethered like this to the desk. This feels pretty nice, I have to say. In other cages, such as the tilter, I have found the bit of the cage around the handle on the side there to be a little bit too thick. It's been too much between my hand and the camera. This feels very nice. It is a lot smoother, a lot slimmer, I think. And yeah, that feels a lot better. And that is a big part of why I've actually been using it as a half cage with the tilter one. Obviously we've got a ton more 1/4-20 and 3/8 inch threads all around here. We've got a hot shoe mount up on the top there for a microphone. We do have the built-in strap holes as well on both top sides and on the bottom as well. And had you asked me a few weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have cared much less about this. But the base of the cage is also Arca Swiss compatible. I'm currently using my main Arca Swiss head, but here's another one. So standard Arca Swiss. This is a photography head really. I don't use this for video, but we can just slide it straight in, click down and tighten, and that then is perfectly, well, this is not perfectly secure, but it's a very secure connection through Arca Swiss. This is getting too annoying. So we do, of course, also have a few 1/4-20 threads on the bottom of the cage there. And there's also a couple of, I think they're M4 holes on the base at the front there. I believe they're more for adapter support. Say if you're using the Metabones adapter or something like that, you can get supports for those which will screw into the front. So using those threads at the bottom, we can attach a separate plate as well. When you're attaching plates to cages, I would always advise using 2 different threads. This means once they're tight, it's far less likely to start swiveling on the pivot, and it's generally always just going to be more secure. I have before now had plates almost coming completely loose. I once made the mistake of carrying a tripod with the whole rig on top of it, and the whole lot just swiveled round. I was using the 70-200, I just smacked me in the face. But that was my own idiot fault. So again, using the included flathead tool, we can tighten those in, and then that's now ready for any of your standard Manfrotto fluid heads or majority of gimbals. Although for gimbals, I'm now using the DJI SC2. I much prefer forgetting about the plate, using the one with the gimbal, and just sliding in using Arca Swiss. And then one last thing, coming back to Nato rail, I believe this on the side here looks very much like a built-in Nato rail. That means you can attach things like side handles. This one again is from SmallRig. In fact, all of my side handles are from SmallRig. Here's an issue I've come across before now, not just with SmallRig, but other cages as well. When you want to attach a side handle, usually to the left hand side, when you're using cables sticking out of the camera, there's very often not quite enough room to comfortably get the cable out of the way and then also get a firm grip. So what I like to do is actually use another Nato rail as a spacer, much like you might have on your car wheels. This is much better with the full thickness Nato rails rather than the slimmer ones like we got with this kit. So we can screw that in there, We usually do have to remove any HDMI clamps. They just tend to get in the way. Not just the SmallRig ones, the tilter one is exactly the same as well. Plug it back in, and now we can firmly attach our side handle. And there's far more room to position your different cables. And that is still a very solid attachment. So this side handle I really like, purely because it's got mounts on top. We've got a couple of 1/4-20s, a 3/8 and a hot shoe as well. So especially when you're rigging a monitor on top, you can very often find that you don't have room for a microphone. So getting this handle on the side means you can attach shotgun microphones. This is the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, but I'm more often than not using the Deity VMic D3 Pro. They both slot in there very easily. That's not far at all for the audio cable to stretch, and that is a very suitable handheld rig. However, if audio is not an issue for me, depending on the shoot, I actually prefer to ditch this handle, and I much prefer these ones. This one again is on Nato rail, so I can slot it in right there. This little lever just tightens it down. That is solid. These handles do not have any extra mounting attachments or anything, but they are far better formed to the hand. You get a really nice solid grip with these ones, and they're on a Arri rosette mount, which means you can loosen them off and move the handle to whatever angle you like. If you're shooting some top downs or if you're shooting from a low angle, you can move it around however you please and get a really nice firm grip. And then I do also have another one on the left hand side. This one is not Nato rail, but it doesn't really matter because this side doesn't have a Nato rail anyway. But I can just screw the rosette base to the side there, get my handle, screw it in like that, and that is a very comfortable way to shoot. So with these now, we can adjust both handles on either side, depending on how we're shooting. But then this one, you may have noticed, has a nice red button on top. That's because we can use a USB-C to Sony multi-interface cable, plug it in on either end, and now we can be shooting handheld like this, and we don't even need to let go of the handle to start and stop recording. I just did it then by accident. I forgot the camera was switched on. So yeah, we can very easily start, practically no delay, and then stop. Love it. By the way, I am also expecting another very exciting parcel. So if I suddenly, this might be it. It's here, it's finally here. Right, separate video. Let's finish this one. So I think I went a little bit overboard with that really. If you can't tell already, I am a massive fan of SmallRig and what they do. They're one of those companies that if you're having trouble trying to figure out a rig, how to attach something in a certain way for your setup, they're a company who have probably already thought of that, and there's a perfect solution in their catalogue somewhere. I didn't really think I'd be using this cage very much, but I have a feeling now that I might well be. Certainly in the future, if and when I may well end up with a second FX3. One of them will probably be for handheld rigs, one of them will probably live on a tripod or something like that. So having different mounting options is always a handy thing to have. So SmallRig, thank you very much for sending this over. I am clearly very impressed with the build quality and the number of rigging options you can get using this stuff. The handle included in this kit is superb. I already own one, so if it was a bad product, I'm not going to own it. I might buy it to test it out. If I don't like it, I'm going to flog it. So yeah, enough said about that. If you are looking for a cage for your Sony FX3, I would definitely consider checking this one out. Obviously, it all just depends on what you're shooting, how you prefer to shoot it, and how you envision actually building out your rig. Everyone is different. Not every cage will be perfect for everyone, but these cages from SmallRig, both this one and the half cage as well, I think I'll cover all of these in a separate video in the future. But yeah, really, there's never much to complain about. So yeah, you really can't go wrong. That'll do it for this video. I've got another lovely box here to open, as well, of course, as this one. This is the RM75 RGB video light by SmallRig. I've only ever bought rigging stuff from SmallRig before, with the exception of HDMI cables. So this I'm very interested in. We'll see how it does. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Hope you found this video useful, maybe entertaining, I don't know. And if you liked it, please do give it a like and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Very much like this. In terms of the Sony FX3, I've got a whole ton of videos coming up in the future with all sorts of different options, different accessories, loads of content coming up. So if you're interested, please do hit subscribe down below and be notified as well. Hit that little bell icon. Otherwise, be good, stay safe, get shooting, and I'll see you in the next video.